from Aunt Mary yesterday. I can't even believe it in this week of loss. And I received this beautiful letter, and I wanted to share it with everybody since Aunt Mary isn't here. Right after my mom passed, talking about the communion of saints, Aunt Mary sent me a little note and a letter, and it was this beautiful little note. It was probably a month after Mom died, and my mom's name was Marion O'Donnell Gilchrist, and she wrote me and said, you know, I was driving the other day, and I was lost. I couldn't kind of remember my way home, and then out of nowhere came this gleaming new truck, and it said O'Donnell's Irish Pub. And then she said, and then miraculously I found my way home. And it was just this neat, on this little tiny, if you guys know, of course, your mom.
A little yellow sticky?
It was a little piece of paper this big.
Okay, yeah.
And of course it made me cry. And then of course I read it to Dad and he loved it.
Oh.
And then yesterday in the mail, I get this beautiful letter, from your mom, and I'll try to get through it, that's just talking about this communion of saints. It's amazing. My mom had this incredible, unbelievable belief in guardian angels. Every time we were doing something, she'd always say, you know, if we were going off to school that day and we were worried about something or a test, or she'd say, just remember, say a prayer to your guardian angel, you know. And so anyway, Mary wrote this beautiful letter this week when, you know, it's incredible. And she said, Dear Marie-Therese, I was out in the wind at a signpost that said no parking, holding on to it. I seemed to wait a long time. I was holding my white mask in one hand as it kept blowing off. An elderly woman came along with a tiny dog. I liked her looks a lot. What's your name? She ventured. Mary, I answered. My name, she responded, is Marion. It's hard to wait standing. You get tired and you need something to hold on to. So you stand and you stand. I liked her more and more. She was great. She kept at me. I was waiting to go to my son John to be with him when he died. He only had a few hours left. She kept inquiring which relative was picking me up. Finally, she left me and my ride came, Stephen. It was only that night in bed I realized she was our Marion. This was after John's death. And so it was just amazing to think of, you know, the communion of saints and how Mom came down at these times, you know, that Aunt Mary may have needed her, you know, and she had lost a son herself, Brian, and she knew what, you know, difficulty it is. And it was just really neat. And I read it to my dad and he sobbed. And he was just so moved. So I just wanted to tell you that it made us feel so good in this time of her loss, you know, to get that letter.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was really powerful.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for reading that.
I'd love a copy of that.
Right. I sent my dad and I typed it up, and I think we sent Anne Marie a beautiful picture this morning of my mom and your mom together.
Oh, nice.
And so
wonderful.
I'm not sure. I'm not so savvy on this to be able to share it right now, but it's just, you know, kind of neat how we were talking about the communion of saints, Julie, and how people are there for each other when they need them.
Yeah, it's really kind of something that's gone by the wayside in the last few decades, but the church is recovering that beautiful truth that